And we are back on WGN-TV Political Report. We keep the focus on violence in the city by getting the perspective of an older woman who's on the front line of dealing with constituents who want to feel safe in their own neighborhood. Joining me now, 5th Ward Alderman Leslie Hairston to talk about that topic and much more. Alderwoman, thanks. Welcome back to the show. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
So debates continue, right? Fingers get pointed from the mayor to Kim Foxx, the state's attorney, to the court system, and Chief Judge Tim Evans. You're an alderwoman. You deal with this process. Where does the blame go?
Well, you know, I don't think you have to blame. That's the biggest problem. It's political because it is an issue, and it's a serious issue in our community. And so it does nobody any good to keep pointing fingers. I mean, they're all yoked together. Our criminal justice system is what it is now. While they're working on reforms, we have to deal with the laws that are in place. The other thing is that if the police are not making arrests in these cases, there's nobody for the prosecutors to prosecute and nobody for the judges to render decisions on. So it's all connected.
You know, you're a good person to ask this question. I moderated an event with Chief Judge Evans this week, and he made the point of saying how important due process of law is, of course, for everybody and for the accused in the system. But, of course, you face these political pressures of constituents. How do you balance the power, the pressure of the politics, you're a lawyer, with the fact that people are owed due process?
Well, people don't want to hear that. You know, and we always do things. We want to convict them first and then look at the facts later. And we just can't do that. We just can't do that. But what we can do is we can do good policing. We can do constitutional policing. We can catch these criminals. We can do good detective work. We can build good cases to present to the state's attorney to prosecute, or either the federals, if the federal government, if necessary, have all of the evidence, and then let the court system, the justice system, mete out the punishment.
You know, Judge Evans also said something you don't hear a lot. He said, we need to increase the funding of witness protection programs. Your colleague, Alderman Michael Rodriguez, was on a panel, and he talked about the importance of protecting witnesses and finding them. What's your thought about that? That's a really important part of this puzzle.
Well, you know, I think absolutely, and particularly where you're talking about women, when you're talking about orders of protection. I know there's been some movement on that. You know, recently in the news there was a murder suicide, and it was someone that was very close to a very dear friend of mine. So these are definitely things because we are not protecting our people. And if we don't protect our people, if we don't protect the victims, if we don't protect the witnesses, they're not going to come forward. And that's what you're seeing now. But I also want to say is that we all as citizens bear a responsibility. We cannot complain about the crime to our neighbors, to our friends, and not tell and not talk to the police, not talk to our pastors. We have to do better all around at communicating and reporting what we see.
One of the other things that Evans talked about, he talked about a 16-year-old gets, you know, maybe accused of or charged with carjacking, and he raised the question, what do we do? Do we throw away the key? Is there no rehabilitation? What is your sense of the fact that so many of these perpetrators are young people, and people are angry, but there's this sense of, from his view, from the justice system, we got to help these people?
Well, you know, that is a huge issue, and it's a huge issue, particularly where you're talking about juveniles, right? That don't have the capacity to make good decisions. And yes, rehabilitation is a part of it. But the other part of it is changing our juvenile justice system so that the ones that need help can get the help that they need. It's about making sure that we have the appropriate resources in our schools, our social workers, the teachers are doing a yeoman's job at doing everything, but you know, we need to make sure that our schools and our neighborhoods have the appropriate resources. We need to have after-school programs. We need to have extracurricular activities. We need to have things for young people to do. We need to have structure, and that's how it's not just a one-off. It's an and. We need to have all of these things together in order for the systems to work. That's been proven over and over again.
I've got a few things I want to talk to you about in addition to this. One quick word, your thought of Superintendent David Brown. Is he doing a good job? Would you keep him?
Well, as long as I don't feel safe, I think that a better job could be done. I would like to see him stop blaming and actually do some police work and start solving these crimes like they did in the little girl's crime the other day. I'd like to see the actual police work being done, less time doing press conferences, more time doing good constitutional police work.
Remapping, battle between the Black Caucus, Latino Caucus. Will this go to referendum or will they figure this out?
Well, those are your words. Those are your words. That is not the way it is. That's what the media likes to put out there. This is a city of Chicago map. The only maps that we're talking about is the city council map. Yes, the Hispanic Caucus does have a map. We're supposed to be negotiating, but there has to be good faith on both parts. And, right now I can say that the members that are on the city council map have operated in good faith, have continued to offer up sessions with the Latino caucus, and each time there has been a decline. And then when the cameras are running, they say, well, we want to talk, we want to work. And then when it comes down to it, there was supposed to be a meeting today that got canceled twice.
Yeah.
And then there was a letter by Chairman Harris that ended up being on Twitter. So that to me is not good faith efforts in trying to negotiate this.
We'll see how that plays out. We'll talk to you as that goes on. And finally, I just want to ask you, you're right about the media, right? We're already talking about re-elections and elections coming up. And so I'm just sort of curious, what's your view of Mayor Lori Lightfoot? We don't know if she's going to run again. She hasn't announced it, but you see Arnie Duncan talking a lot about things, and Paul Vallis is talking a lot about things. How vulnerable is the mayor in a re-election bid, if she makes it?
It's still too early to tell. There are a lot of things that the mayor has done that she has been reaching out to communities that typically have not been reached out to in the past. I think she continues to try to represent everybody. I know that the violence is a big thorn in her side. And so I think that we have yet to see. It's an incredible job. It's an incredible task. You look at the way that the city has handled COVID and, all of the things that have been thrown at her.
Yeah.
And, I also like to look at the fact that she has been strong, since day one. Whether you like it or not, she has been very, very strong and an advocate for the citizens of Chicago.
And Alderwoman, we'll appreciate those words. We'll stick with you and talk to you as time goes on. I didn't hear you were running for mayor, so we'll leave that alone for right now. And I appreciate you for your time. Alderwoman Leslie Harrison, thank you so much.